harder area, which is actually convincing people internally to implement in eSign as an infrastructure process, right? Because internal push will always be just implement this simple API. Why do you need like a full stack infrastructure? It just seems more expensive. And when you're in the room with them, the points sound really good. But let's actually unpack this and show why it's like how you can actually show ROI, right? And it all starts with a fundamental misunderstanding of the true ROI of going paperless, right? And whenever I bring up this term, people say that everyone knows the ROI. It's 2025. We know why you should go paperless. You don't need to repeat yourself. But when most people say this, their understanding of ROI is actually what you on screen. You switch from paper to digital. So obviously you don't have to spend on the paper anymore and you save those costs, right? Printing, storage, things associated with the physical paper itself. But the actual costs of remaining physical are far higher than the direct costs. Think about things like turnaround cost, time costs, right? If it takes you a full day to get a document signed, it slows down the amount of loans you can give per branch per day, right? Reducing your branch throughput. This is a clear real cost. It won't show up in your internal discussions today when you're discussing ROI of eSign. Or think about the man-hour costs, right? Operating paper, printing, fixing, filling up sheets, verifying details, filling in details. It all adds up to roughly 2 hours per branch per day. That's 2 hours lost at your branch that your team is spending on a compliance task of paperwork rather than a business task. And finally, you have things like compliance issues. What happens if you have to retrieve a document, physical document, and it's damaged? What's the hassle involved? What are the costs involved, right? All of these are very real costs, but they somehow, in a lot of cases, never actually reflect when you're actually discussing the ROI of doing a proper eSign implementation. So fundamentally, the first part of the ROI model is actually understanding the cost of paper and flipping that to understand the exponential benefits of going paperless, right? Because succeeding with eSign is not just about saving some incremental costs. It's about fundamentally transforming the leg of paperwork, this compliance leg of the journey, into an actual structural advantage for you that has fantastic business benefits and fantastic benefits for your operations. So we did a ROI analysis with two MFI clients, primarily in rural India, and calculated these savings, right? So for a large MFI, it was about 90 rupees saved per document and 55 minutes saved per agreement that they were signing. And with another MFI, it was 81 rupees per document saved and whopping 20 hours per document saved, right? They were earlier taking more than a day to do the document. Now they can get it all done in the branch on the same day, right? So simple eSign seems tempting and easier to justify at procurement stage because yes, if you're just looking at it at an upfront cost stage, it's cheaper, but the costs you pay in very short time are much greater with simple eSign, right? It's harder to implement. You need more internal resources. It does not actually have proper maintenance and support. Like we spoke about that manual backup process, right? And most importantly, because of the reasons we've talked about, a simple eSign is just not going to work for high volume rural lending use cases, right? If you wanted to work on the ground, like you a simple eSign won't do, and you'll end up paying the costs of paper that we've discussed, right? So yes, you've saved on the upfront investment. Your procurement team is super happy, but on a process level, on an ROI level, oh, sorry, you have succeeded on an upfront investment. I mentioned fail. You've succeeded on upfront investment, like everyone is happy on the cheap upfront investment, but you've actually failed at a process level, at a fundamental ROI level, because paper continues to remain default in these scenarios, right? So we like we have our ROI model available to you. If you want an ROI report, like we will take you through how our ROI model works. We'll take you through how exactly it calculates the ROI. We'll ask you some questions about your use case so that we can prepare this report. So if you want us to run an ROI model with you, please vote yes in the poll. If so, we will reach out to you for a call and then we will discuss your use case. We will take some numbers. We'll show you how the model works and you'll understand the data points we need. They're very simple. They're 3 to 4 data points, which can be publicly available by just going down to your branch. So it's not confidential or proprietary data that we want from you. And then we'll generate your custom ROI report that you can then use internally to make the case for this switch. So just vote yes and we'll reach out to you. And in case you don't vote yes and later you want it, reach out to us, reply on the email that we send you within the next 48 hours. And just before we go into the open Q&A, final plug, as I mentioned, legality document infrastructure allows you to deploy paperless journeys across rural lending use cases in a fast, easy, and compliant way. We can take you live in about 2 weeks.